Hey guys, welcome back to the Planner Pixie Co show, and welcome back to another memory plan with me. This was the hardest spread to lay down in the history of my planning career. This was the hardest week, month, honestly, one of the hardest years ever that I've had in my life. I had originally pulled the Stranger Things kit for this week, but it seemed very inappropriate. Plus, I didn't really start Stranger Things this particular week anyway. So, if you didn't know, this is the week that my stepdad passed away. So I'm going through the kit here. Also, I've never really done a voiceover like this, so I don't really know what I'm doing. So apologies for if this turns out all crazy. But anyway, I pulled the kit Aura. It's from our shop. I really didn't know what kit to pull for this. I'm showing you the foil right now. I'll get to that in a second. But in the things that happened this week, I don't feel like there's very many like memorial spreads memorializing anybody in the planner community. We need more of those. The only one that I could think about was a glam planner kit, and I went to her site and looked for it, and she didn't have it anymore, and so I went through all of my kits, and we had just recently came out with this Aura kit, and I felt like it was the most perfect that I could find. Honestly, it really reminded me of that glam planner kit. The colors are very similar. It feels very angelic to me. The butterflies, everything. So that's what I pulled. It's from our shop, if I didn't already say that. And then I did also pull Silver Hollow to go with the kit as well, and I pulled that Pixie pack with all of the butterflies to go with the butterflies in the kit. And then that extra little thing that I had made my friend Rosie some custom overlays. She was doing a spread in memory of one of her friends, and she had asked me to make her some custom overlays for that, and it was butterfly themed, and never in a million years did I think that I would be using the same exact overlays for a kit of my own, but it was fresh on my mind that I had done that for her, and so I pulled them for this, and I feel like it worked really, really well. She had just asked me to make like a quote that said rest in peace and her friend's name, but I went ahead and filled out the whole sheet there like I normally do with just some simple butterfly overlays, and then I looked for quotes about butterflies, and I came across this one that I thought was perfect, so I'm using it in this one as well. It says an angel is near when butterflies appear, so that just makes me feel good. I love butterflies. I've got a butterfly tattoo. So, anyway, that is the story behind the reason I pulled this exact kit. But do you guys ever have a kit that a week, it's just very important to you? It's a very special week, such as this right here, or it could be even like a birthday week or, anniversary week or something, but it's just a very important week to you, and you're just so nervous about it. I was so nervous about this kit, and putting it down, and I wanted it to be absolutely perfect, and then everything goes wrong. That's pretty much what happened to me with this. First of all, I'm using this stupid glossy paper that I absolutely hate. And I fought with it the whole way through, and I just kept putting stuff down wrong, and the paper just kept messing with me. And then even up until the end doing the scripts, I think I was just spooked by this spread the whole time. I didn't notice it until I already had everything down, that I had gotten his date of birth, the year, and then the year he passed away mixed up. So I'd said that he was born in 2022. I'm just frazzled by this whole thing, and I've put off this voiceover. Like I said, first of all, I just don't do voiceovers, so I've put it off just because I'm not comfortable with doing voiceovers, but just also because of the contents of the week and everything that happened. And, I've had a lot of people tell me you don't have to share it, you don't have to put it on, YouTube. And I know that I don't, but I want to share him with you guys. Because he's one of the greatest men I've ever had the pleasure of knowing in my life, and he deserves to be remembered, and he deserves to be talked about, and he deserves to be, honored in any way that I can honor him. And this is one of the ways that I can honor him right now, I feel like I'm going to have to stop and start this one a million times because I don't want to cry my way through it. But I feel like we're pretty used to me stopping and starting because Casey loves to interrupt me. Anyway, I decided to do this voiceover style this time. I'm sure it's probably pretty obvious as to why I would want to do that. I just don't want to relive it. I mean, I already had to relive it laying it down. And I mean, I'm having to relive it doing the voiceover, but I just don't want to talk about everything that happened. If you pay close enough attention, you can see everything that gets laid down. But I just wanted to spend a little time talking about my stepdad and telling you guys a little bit about him and about our relationship. I already feel like I'm going to start crying again. So I don't want to talk too much about his death. I just want to talk about his life, but I will fill you guys in if you've missed some things along the way. If you've been here long enough, then you know that he was diagnosed with cancer. It was about this time last year. He had cancer in one of his kidneys, and he had a kidney removed. I want to say it was in June of last year. And he was good after that. He had some time off from work and went back to work. And fast forward to March of this year, we found out it was back. And that it was in his one of his lungs and his brain, which was super scary. So you can see it was a very short time period between March of when we found out it was back and May when he passed away. He had radiation treatments. It wasn't even the cancer that got him, you guys. It was the treatment, and that's what really sucks. We really didn't get to know if the treatment had worked, and now I wouldn't want to know, because if it had been working, it would have made it worse. But there was this something called immunotherapy that he was doing. I've read about it. It's still like a relatively new thing. It seems kind of like chemo, but it's not. But it was like something that, he had to have like an IV, and it took hours to administer. It was very much like chemo, I feel like, but it was supposed to work with his immune system to attack the cancer cells, and instead of attacking the cancer cells, it attacked his organs, and it attacked his lungs, and his lungs shut down. And that's what happened, and it just really, really sucks. That's something that's supposed to be helping you is what kills you. So, that's what happened, and now we're left here to figure things out without him, Okay, sorry. In true Casey fashion, he came home and came in and interrupted me. It is not a Planner Pixie Co. spread without Casey interrupting it. He just loves to be the center of attention. Anyway, let's see. I first met my stepdad, I think I was in the 5th grade. So how old are you in the 5th grade? 12, something like that. That's how long he's been a part of my life, a good 30 plus years. I don't know how long they dated before I actually met him, but I wasn't actually supposed to meet him the day that I did. I just remember I was supposed to go to my dad's for the weekend, and I knew he was coming over, and she was making him my favorite meal. She was making him spaghetti, and I was just like, excuse me? I faked sick, you guys. I don't know that I've ever actually came clean about that, but I'm coming clean with it now at 42. I faked sick that weekend. I remember, so that I could meet this man that she was making my favorite meal for, and also so that I could eat spaghetti. But yeah, that's how we first met. I was faking sick, and I just remember saying, he has really pretty eyes. That's all I remember. And he did. He had really pretty blue eyes. So yeah, my stepdad's been a huge part of my life. It's a really long time. He was the hardest working person I've ever met in my life. He used to get so mad at me if I would lay out of work. So mad at me. But he drove a log truck for 50 years, a good majority of his life. Before that, he was in the Army. And he received a National Defense Service medal and also an expert and sharpshooter medal. Yeah. But for the majority of his life, he drove a log trailer, and that is what he absolutely loved to do. He was either driving or he was in the woods working with the logs, cutting logs, clearing land, all of that. And he really was gonna work up until he was 80 years old. And honestly, I think if he had been able and still a go-getter at 80 years old, I really don't think he would have retired. That was just him. He never missed work. Sick, injured, he never missed work unless it was, something like what had happened recently, or my mom had a few surgeries. He would take off to take care of her, but other than that, you would not find him missing a day of work. That is the person that he was. And they were talking at the funeral home about all these stories of him hurting himself and cutting himself with the chainsaw, and he would just what did they say? That he dipped the wound in diesel and just wrapped it up with duct tape and just kept going. That was him in a nutshell. So we even played some trucker songs at his funeral. The night before, we were picking out what to play. We didn't really know. We were just Googling trucker songs. We ended up playing Alabama, Roll On, and then the Eastbound and Down song. Weird to play at a funeral, probably, but that's just, he was a trucker. He loved it. It was during the, they always show a DVD of pictures of the person along the years, and that's what we put the songs to. But it was very fitting for him. So his handle, his trucking handle, was Hammer, because apparently he liked to put the hammer down. He's known for driving kind of fast. I never knew that about him, so that had to be in his younger days. I never thought that he was a super fast driver, but I think a lot of the most of the truckers knew him by Hammer and not even by Randy. And seeing his name at the funeral home, they didn't even know who it was, so we had to the day before had them add that to the sign. So he was very well known by Hammer. Casey had even actually started calling him that in the last few months. He spoiled me rotten, honestly. That's probably another big reason why I liked him very quickly. Anything that my mom was I'm absolutely not getting you that, Randy would. He would. So Also, if you didn't know, my stepdad's name was Randy. I am also named Randy. So they always called him Big Randy, and I'm Little Randy. I'm still getting called Little Randy. One of my cousins called me that the other day. Um, but yeah, he spoiled me rotten. He didn't have any kids of his own, so I didn't have any step brothers or sisters on that side. So I was his only child. Um, and another thing that we had between us is I'm a huge Tennessee football fan, right? And he's not. He's not any kind of sports fan. The only sports I ever remember him watching was NASCAR. But he would give me a hard time about loving Alabama football, and he didn't. He did not watch football at all. But that's just like a Tennessee huge rival now. So, so he was just giving me like a hard time. And it got to the point where I started getting him a Tennessee shirt for every occasion. Father's Day, his birthday, Christmas, like any chance I could get to get him a Tennessee shirt, that's what I got him. And that was pretty much his wardrobe. If you ever seen him out and he was in a t-shirt, it was a Tennessee t-shirt. This Father's Day, well, we've already had his birthday. He would have been 75 this year. We've already had a birthday. I've had a Father's Day without him this year. We've already had a holiday without him. It's been like a lot at one time. Did I already say that? I feel like I had to take a break and I feel like I already said that. Or I said it and I had to redo it. I don't know. Anyway. Y'all know I repeat myself. But, yeah, I went on Father's Day because this is my first time not being able to get him a Tennessee shirt. I went into his closet and I counted them. He had 30 plus shirts hanging there, you guys. Every t-shirt that was in his closet was a Tennessee shirt. So I took one of his Tennessee shirts that day and I wore it in memory of him on Father's Day. I was actually pretty okay on Father's Day this year until I went up the mountain to see my real dad. I say that, but Randy was my real dad too. My first dad. Randy was my bonus dad, I guess. I went up the mountain to see my dad, and Randy used to work around where I live. Even though they live like an hour away from me, he worked around where I live. And there is this little gas station at the bottom of my dad's mountain, and Randy would occasionally park his big truck there or his car there overnight or something. He'd always stop in there to get diesel and whatnot. I don't know, whatever. And I was going up the mountain, and as soon as I'd seen that store, I don't think it was his truck, but it was a red log truck, which his was red, and I just lost it. I cried the whole way up the mountain, and I think that's one of the hard things for my mom too, is seeing a red log truck or just seeing the actual company that he worked for. But yeah, that was pretty much our relationship. He liked to give me a hard time, but he also spoiled me silly, and he loved me like I was his own child. And he is going to be so missed. So missed. I couldn't have asked for a better man to take care of my mom. He was good to both of us, and this is such a hard thing. This is one of my biggest fears in life, losing parents. And I've lost one, and it just hurts. It still doesn't seem real at all. Yeah, he definitely has a huge place in my heart, and I love you, Randy. and I will miss you forever.